Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:38 a.m. News and views on Salam Media. We are still on the Palestine issue, Palestine and Israel. And we're going to be talking with award-winning, multi-award-winning journalist and media personality, Faisal Patel. He's also a colleague here on Salam Media. He presents a tech program. We're going to talk with him about a story he has filed in The Citizen, I think it is. And this is regarding the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor's visit to Palestine, which has been postponed. Is it the minister herself that has postponed it because of the current situation in Palestine, or is it Israel's refusal to provide the minister with passage to the Palestinian territories through Israel? So let's try and unpack the story in more detail with Faisal Patel. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program, Faisal. Nice to be chatting with you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and to the listeners of Salam Media, and Jazakallah for the opportunity.
Okay, the last time you and I spoke were under very, very pleasant circumstances and the situation. We were talking about your Mubarak time on Hajj with your dear wife. So it was really a really great discussion that we had. This time around, we're talking with a very heavy heart, much anxiety, knowing what's playing out and worse to come, I should imagine, in Palestine by the illegal occupiers. So let's get to the heart of the story and let's look at the situation regarding Pandor's, whether she postponed the trip or is it the Israelis that have refused her passage through Israel?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've seen this escalation and insurgence by Israel into Gaza, and I mean, there's so many different versions of the story. Unfortunately, we're also seeing a number of commentators on different WhatsApp groups providing their own analysis without actually being qualified to do so. And that's quite sad because, while a lot of people are taking sides, something which was mentioned by Ponkiani Pingwa this morning, that if you are Muslim, obviously you're going to take the side of Palestine, and then you're going to get the Jewish that's obviously going to take the side of Israel. But I think we also need to be very, very careful of what we share across with regard to what is happening in the Middle East. Obviously, anything that will be said will obviously create more tension and stir more sort of animosity between the two. Sorry, I just needed to bring that in. But I had come across this letter. A source of mine had sent in to me. It was sort of a very important letter that was sent to probably, I'm not saying, I don't know if it was sent to her or it was sent to the department, but I got a copy of this letter. It's stamped from the Israeli embassy in Pretoria, and basically it outlines certain criteria that the minister's trip to Palestine. Now, also need to make it clear that it's unclear whether she cancelled the trip because of the current war, as Benjamin Netanyahu put it, is taking place in Palestine. But basically, it said that let's give an example, and this is what the international relations spokesperson, Jason Moniela, had told me when I wanted him to comment on this particular thing. Obviously, I can't share more because he spoke to me off the record as well with regard to this. So I want to sort of break the trust. So one of the things he told me is like, let's say if you go into Gaza, there's a couple of different entries you can go through. So you can go through Israel and then go to the Palestinian territories from there, or you can go through Egypt, or you can go through a different area, even through Jordan. So there's different passageways that you can actually go through if you want to go through the Palestinian territories and into Gaza. So what the Israeli embassy had actually said is that they didn't say they welcome, they said they will regretfully, they will not be allowed to let Minister Pandor go through Israeli territory through the Palestinian territories. So for me, that was basically a refusal, number one. Number two, also they cited a religious holiday that was taking place. So obviously, maybe they didn't have any cards or whatever the case may be to then allow it to go through those territories. But at the same time, when I wrote that particular story, obviously, Hamas has obviously launched rockets, and there was sort of fighting. A lot of people had lost their lives, and subsequently, the only thing that I could use was from the Department of International Affairs that Minister Pandor had sort of cancelled the trip, postponed, not cancelled, and they didn't give any specific reasons for it. But obviously, what we've seen, what's happening there now, it's more than likely because of the escalating violence there.
But I should also imagine it kind of really wouldn't be possible for her to have a meeting with the Palestinians, given what is playing out. And also, I should imagine her entourage and her own safety would be at risk because one never knows, where the Israelis and, which areas of Gaza and Palestine they would be targeting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no doubt you'd have seen the story I wrote yesterday, where South Africa is calling for a cessation of hostilities between Israel and Palestine. And one of the things that's in the letter is that the International Relations Department has always state, and this is echoed by Minister Pandor, that the Palestinians have a right to self-determination. So that was always seen, unfortunately, by Israel as a sort of a side taken by South Africa because she's international relations against Israel. So obviously should have been severely criticized. In the statement that the South African Zionist Federation sent to me yesterday when I wrote the other story, obviously to balance the story, was that, and they quote, they said that Minister Pandor has always criticized Israel and Israel has a right to defend itself, all the stuff that they mentioned in there. So obviously she would have come under pressure. South Africa has always taken a neutral stance with regards to certain things. But Elvin Botha was actually on 702 this morning and speaking and asked Bongani Pingwa whether he condemns the acts of Hamas. And he says, he's saying condemn would then be saying that when South Africa fought against apartheid, the armed struggle should have been condemned. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have been free where we are today. So obviously, he basically, and I don't want to give too much away because I'm busy with the story, that it's regrettable. And I think it's regrettable from any person who would be a Muslim or Jewish that lives have been lost on both sides. To give you an example, and it's very sad, and I want to make it clear because I got some criticism for sharing a tweet on Saturday about a friend of mine who I had worked for many years at 702, Mandy Wiener. She's a Jewish person. She was at the Gurian airport with her children, and I've worked with her, and she because I worked with her. And one of the things that she tweeted, you can actually check her Twitter account, was they were at the airport taking a flight back to South Africa with the two children, and they had to scurry for cover because sirens had sounded and missiles were incoming at the particular airport. And then when I looked at it, I said, I'm a Muslim, and had it been me and Israel been firing missiles at the airport, I would have looked at the faces of my terrified children and know what they're going through. So the loss of life, I think, on both sides is quite regrettable. This is what the Hamas spokesperson said on Al Jazeera yesterday. They did not intend targeting civilians intentionally. But unfortunately, this is a war, and in war, you're going to get casualties, and sometimes it's going to be women and children as well. But I think we really, really need to be careful, with regard to how we're sharing information. There's certain information on some WhatsApp groups that I've seen has been unverified. People, sort of want to be analysts and journalists and try to have their own say in the whole thing. But this is something that, somebody asked me yesterday what my stance is on the whole thing. As a journalist, unfortunately, we're bound by balanced reporting, and we need to report in a fair and accurate manner. But what my personal views are, obviously, that is my right to reserve. And if I want to reserve that right, then I don't have to put it into the public domain. Obviously,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
yeah, I
I
share the
hear you.
the
Yeah.
negative thing. Mm.
Okay, I understand you can't be with us much longer, and I concur with you regarding that journalists have to be very balanced and objective. And earlier on, when I started the show, I was, watching TV all weekend long about the atrocities playing out in that part of the world.
Mm. Mm.
I was very, very fired up this morning, and I made some very, very personal remarks about the situation. But I did end off with a disclaimer suggesting that these are my personal views, not the reflection of Salam Media, etc., etc., etc. And you are quite right when you say journalists have to be objective and have to be balanced, but I couldn't help but becoming very personally caught up in what I saw playing out. But be that as it may, I get your point, and I do know that we can't keep you here longer because you are at work. But inshallah, we will probably talk with you on quite a regular basis if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. Always looking forward to it.
Take care, Faisal. All the very best, and salaam alaikum to
No.
you.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, that was Faisal Patel. He is an award-winning journalist, in fact, a multi-award-winning journalist and a media personality, just giving us his point of view regarding the story he filed yesterday on the Minister of International Relations, that's Naledi Pandor's visit to Palestine, which has been postponed for night, might have been cancelled or postponed. Obviously, he has to be very careful with his wording. It is exactly 8:49. We are going to take a listen to a video clip. We're going to watch and take a listen to a video clip, and it is an eyewitness account by Dr. Ramzi Baroud. He is a Palestinian journalist, and he is going to be telling us what exactly is happening in Palestine. Let me also add, he is an author and editor of the Palestine Chronicle.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands.